and many thanks indeed for joining us here on Morning Prime. It is another month, another day that we meet here on Morning Prime. I trust that you had a lovely Madaraka weekend and you're well rested for, of course, this new week, and you're primed, of course, to focus on this new week. He says, I will lay me down to sleep, I'll awake again because he sustains me. Great is his faithfulness, and his mercies are afresh every morning. We have a lot lined up for you today here on Standpoint. I beg your pardon for that. Global Today. Today is not Global Today. Global Today comes you Wednesday. Wednesday is when we have it. Today is Standpoint, and we focus on the politics of the day, looking at the political tone and tenor, updating you on the current affairs, and of course also what is happening politically. But let's see how the weather will be this morning and today. right, let's see what is fresh off the press this morning. And this is what you're waking up to on the front page of the Standard today, fresh off the press. Gachagua, in yet another thief of a military chopper, is what is headlining the Standard today. Power play. On 3 occasions, the deputy president has not had access to the aircraft, with a reason given at each instance. The latest is when he could not fly one to Bungoma because he had not applied for one. And that story is on page 8 of the Standard today. But like they had never left, Kenya celebrates the qualification for the HSBC VNS 2025 season at Stadium Civitas Metropolitano in Madrid, Spain yesterday. And you have the story on page 31 of the Standard today. UDA fights expose Ruto's knack for combat politics. Emerging rift in UDA mirrors Ruto's political career, which has been characterized by controversy despite always emerging victorious amidst the turmoil. You have the story on page 2 of the publication today. And looking at the teaser on top here, intriguing White House rituals that date back ages. And that story on page 4 and 5 of the Standard. Money wars could see schools shut, and Real Madrid show they are kings of Europe. That story on page 32 of the Standard today. Also remember, you can get all the wiser as far health and science is concerned. And letting men tackle period stigma is the story that you want to follow in today's publication inside the Standard. Make sure you grab a copy to get all the wiser. And we have the Daily Nation up next. Tanga, as you wish. Ruto tells MPs, and the Tanga has a scarecrow's quotation there. And you have also the flag reading. Head of state reiterates his call for national unity as Gachagua defends his Mount Kenya push. Row. President William Ruto yesterday openly contradicted his deputy, Brigadier Gachagua, when he encouraged members of parliament to traverse the country in the conduct of their constitutional mandate, saying, as lawmakers, they should not be confined only to their constituencies, exposing the widening political rift between the duo. You have a story on page 6 and 7 of the Daily Nation today. Deputy President saying, quote unquote, when we call for a regional unity, it is not that we want to be united against anybody, or for any other reason. Why would somebody isolate us because we are united? That is the story that you want to follow on page 4 and 5 of the Daily Nation today. And the president saying, as an MP, don't be cheated into concentrating on representing your electorate only in parliament. You must traverse all regions for oversight and legislation roles. This is the story that you want to follow inside the Standard today. While students are shunning degrees for TVET diplomas, we have Darwin Mbogo, a 20-year-old student, was ecstatic to be among the thousands of 2023 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education Examination 2023 candidates selected by the Kenya University and Colleges Central Placement Service to pursue studies at the Technical and Vocational Education and Training Institution after completing Form 4 at Grassland School in Nyahururu. Mbogo knew precisely what academic path he wanted to take, regardless of the grades he attained. You have the story inside the publication today. That is the higher education of the Daily Nation. Parastatals budgets slashed by 40% ahead of mergers, closures. That is on page 5. Kenya Bakin's 7S series. Shujaa rally past Germany in playoffs to qualify for World 7 Series. And this story is tucked away on page 36 of the Daily Nation. South Africa's potential kingmakers struggle with white image despite their own lackluster performance. South Africa's Democratic Alliance and its leader John Steenhuisen suddenly find themselves in an unprecedented position. That story on page 18 of the Daily Nation. Cost leaders up the ante in war on Muguka and Mira. Controversy surrounding the Muguka, a leafy stimulant, has galvanized the resolve of leaders in course to enforce strict regulations in the face of sustained onslaught from the regions that exports the plant. You have a story on page 16 of the publication this morning. Let's see what we have on the front page of the Star. Our agencies ignored Ruto foreign trips ban. is what is headlining the front page of a Star today. Austerity, domestic and foreign travel bust their budgets by 4 billion shillings. Control of Budgets report says the institution spent 18.2 billion shillings in the first 9 months of current financial year. And have a story on page 4 and 5 of today's publication. 30 billion shillings needed to repair damaged roads and bridges. This is what these pictures are highlighting here. Wrath of nature, the damaged section of the the meter gauge railway line at Longonot. The line was cut off by the recent flash floods in the area. Transport Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen, who visited the site, said the restoration process will cost up to 1 billion shillings. And you have a story on page 6 of the publication today. Motorist assault traffic police officer in shocking road rage violence in city. There's a manhunt there, and President Ruto tells MPs to ignore DP Gachagua order over trips to constituencies. Mudavadi, Kenya is now a major global and regional player in peace and security. This is an exclusive interview in the Star. All right, let's see what the People Daily is holding for us. Gachagua fights back the splash defiance in what appears to be tacit response to President Ruto. Embattled DP retreats home, vowing that he will continue championing Mount Kenya interests despite warning against parochial politics. You have a story on page 4. And cyber criminals now target high-profile personalities. That is on page 8 on the newsbeat. And Madrid makes history with 15th Champions League glory. That is on page 30. And Watangula on the spot of a Sudi Baraza conduct. That is the story that you want to follow also on page 7 of the People Daily this morning. Mwiba kwa Gachagua. That is what we have on the front page of Taifa leo. Naibu Rais amejipata katika hali tata huku wapinzani wake wakiendelea kuchipuka kila siku. That story you can follow it inside the publication today on page 2. Miongoni mwa wanasiasa wanaomkosesha usingizi na gavana wa Igoro, Nyoro, Sudi, Moses Kuria, Mudavadi na hata kinara ODM Raila Odinga. You have a story on page 2 of the publication today. Kaunti za North Rift zilipoteza bilioni moja. That is 1 billion shillings there. You can follow the story on page 5. And we can buckle down to some business now, where Kenya National Bureau of Statistics on the spot for wrong power bills in computations. KNBS May inflation numbers raise data quality issues. Agency's figures contradict EPRA's gazetted prices. That is the story you want to follow inside the Business Daily this morning. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is on the spot for using the wrong electricity prices in its monthly cost of living computation, raising questions over the authenticity of the agency's latest inflation numbers. This is after the agency indicated that power prices rose by up to 6.9% in May, despite actual power bills declining during the period. And you have a story on page 2 of the publication today. State blows 18 billion shillings on travel in 9 months, despite austerity order. That is what you can follow also on page 2 of the Business Daily this morning. And why small retailers are running away from the big malls. Retailers are facing increasing competition from online delivery platforms, resulting in a decline in the revenue that they are generating from brick-and-mortar sales. And parastatals are ordered to conduct fresh headcount. The government has ordered a fresh headcount of workers in parastatals in another attempt to weed out ghost workers from the national payroll. Indian bank apps Kenya lending to 33 billion shillings. The Export-Import Bank of India will increase its lending to Kenyan businesses to 32.5 billion shillings after opening a representative office in Nairobi on Friday. And more than half of Kenya tea is unsold. More than half of the tea from Kenyan farms presented to the Mombasa auction in May remained unsold as heavy rains increased production of green leaf, lending to a glut. There's a tea glut, and that is that has exacerbated the selling of this. Let's cross over to Uganda, where miracles that made the Uganda martyr is a splash today. Making of saints, Christians today mark the Martyrs' Day, which celebrates the 45 faithful who were killed in the 19th century for professing their faith. Today, we jog down the memory lane in remembrance and integrate if they were victims of faith or traitors of Buganda Kingdom. There's a pullout inside today's publication. And also Church of Uganda clears church house loan. Sweet news here, the Anglican Church faithful will today celebrate the Martyrs' Day with joy following news that the 16 billion shillings owed to Equity Bank for the Janani Luwum Church house has been fully cleared. And that is a good gesture there from Equity Bank, clearing the loan of the Church of Uganda as they celebrate the Martyrs' Day today. This is in the publication. And here's my prayer. Children share why they walked to Namugongo. And also, just to remind you have the free copy of a Martyrs' Day special magazine inside the publication today. Life and Times of Pilgrim whom died on walk of faith. All that is inside page 3. It seems it is Martyrs heavy in the publication of the Daily Monitor today. But also remember to grab a copy of the Healthy Living magazine that comes in handy for you as well as a pull-out magazine inside the publication today. In Tanzania, there's a question there, or what it means as the two global giants now operate of DAP ports. What are some of the implications? Economists and industry experts have voiced their optimism about the future performance of Dar es Salaam port, whose operations are now under two global logistics giants. This story is tucked away on page 2 of the publication today, and you have Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, who's the DP World Group Chairman and CEO, and also we can see this is Gutam Adani Group Chairman. This is a 30-year agreement. Adani International Ports Holding Limited announced last week that it had entered into a 30-year concession agreement with the Tanzania Ports Authority to operate and manage Container Terminal 2 at the port. And DP World Tanzania finalized 3 contracts with DP World Group last October. Under the agreements, DP World is responsible for operating Berth 4 to 7, while Berth 0, 2, 3 are to be jointly operated by the UAE-based firm and Tanzania Ports Authority. You have the story on page 2. Finally, you remember how this also was a contentious in Tanzania, where people had trepidations and fear that maybe the assets are being sold, and how those contractual agreements were entered into. Those were questions that were raised from different quarters of Tanzania. HIV infections among girls aged 15 to 24 double in 7 years. Infections among girls in the age group have increased from 14% during 2016 and 17 to 30% in 2022-2023, according to the Tanzania Commission for AIDS. That is a huge leap, and you can follow the story on page 3 of the publication today. Tanzania, South Korea strengthen ties with new agreements. This is on page 2 of the publication. Mwaramuitse, that's what they say in Rwanda. Good morning. Rwanda to adopt digital currency. That is what the central bank is announcing. Central bank aims to introduce a national digital currency in 2 years. This is a story that you can follow. This is a story you can follow on page 4 and 5 of the publication. And Kagame in Seoul for inaugural Korea-Africa Summit. President Paul Kagame arrives in Seoul, South Korea for the first Korea-Africa Summit on Sunday. And the summit, slated for Tuesday, that is tomorrow, will attract delegations from African countries and related international organizations, key figures from Korean and international business communities, academia, civil society groups, press, among others, also will be in attendance. BK Group PLC records 23.9 billion shillings Rwandan franc net profits in first quarter of 2024. And Nonoscan House Kigali welcomes impact entrepreneurs to expanded campus. That is what the publication is looking like today. The East Africa this week looks like this. EAC in limbo on cash crisis. Critical organs of the bloc, such as the regional court and the assembly, have been forced to defer sittings as partner states hold $40 million in unpaid remittances. And this is a story on page 4 and 5 of the East African. We have Joseph Nakirutimana, the Speaker of the East African Legislative Assembly here, and you can see also Christine Mutimura Wekesa, Deputy Registrar of East African Court of Justice. That is where they are at on the sharpest edge of the horn of dilemma as far as finances is concerned. The African economic model we want, this was happening, of course, last week. The African Union Commission Chairperson, Musa Faki, also African Development Bank, Akiwumi Adesina, President William Ruto of Kenya and Kenya's Treasury Cabinet Secretary Njuguna Ndung'u launching the Africa Economic Outlook 2024 at the Africa Development Bank annual meetings in Nairobi. But the ANC Tech Stock 6 coalition, South Africa's South Africa ruling party, on course to lose majority for first time in 30 years. Ramaphosa likely to face calls to quit over poor showing. And you have a story on page 10. No respite for besieged Ugandan speaker after UK sanctions on Anita Among. Washington has come with stunner stuff there. And you have a story on page 9 of the publication this morning. Let's see what the China Daily is holding for us. This is the global edition, blueprint set for future of Sino-Arab ties. High hopes for 2026 summit means great prospects for cooperation. This is what experts are saying. And also historic probe to gather lunar samples from far side. That is the story. This picture is all about staff members of Beijing Aerospace Control Center check data collected by the Change 6 lander and Ascender combination. A screenshot of simulated animation playing at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center on Sunday, showing the Change 6 landing on the far side of the moon. The Change 6 touched down on Sunday morning at a designated site in South Paul Aitken Basin. A screenshot of footage captured by a camera of the Change 6 during its landing process. And it's all about technology and how also China is advancing on that. This is the China Daily. The Economist this week, meet America's most dynamic political movement. Right? Body, my choice, my body, my choice. And you can read all about it inside the publication today. 3 women who will shape Europe. Also, you can find all that inside the publication today, running from the 1st to the 7th. Boomers loaded and stingy. Generation rent goes global. The stakes in Mexico's election also is on. And if at all you want to get all smarter in business and how you can ask smarter questions as well, the key to better strategic decision making is on the publication, the latest in Harvard Business Review. And this is where we were at before. I will show you the editorial cartoons and other publications as well moving forward. But for now, let me introduce our guests who are here. But before I go there, we have a quote of the day. Listen to many, speak to a few. Listen to many and speak to a few. This is what William Shakespeare once said. So, develop your art of listening keenly. Fantastic. Have a good day. And of course, we want to introduce our panelists this morning. I mentioned earlier that we're all in court this morning with Wilson Sossion, who is the CS Tourism. Also, we have with us Dr. James Chikal, who is a Member of Parliament, Seme. Also with us as well as we have Dr. Makalimuli, who is the Member of Parliament, Kitui Central. I can see Geoffrey Ruku is not able to join us this morning. I hope he has not taken Muguka like he did last time, early in the morning, what he said. But he says he's been held up in Embu. This is during the Kiririmbi festival, and which was running late into the night, so he couldn't really travel back on time. I see, of course, at night, you're bound to be risking yourself if you subject yourself to the night journey, so you could not make it this morning. But, Sossion, good morning, good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you.
You look chapfallen. Why was your hand on your cheek?
Now it's listening, of course.
You were listening.
That is part of human posture.
I thought maybe
when you are extremely relaxed.
Really?
Yes.
So they always told, my mom used to say, no, don't put your hand, or my relatives, or any, or people used to say, oh, you look like, I thought maybe that's a frustration of UDA. And you wonder.
In chemistry, it is called being at the ground state. Yeah?
Being at the ground state.
At the ground state. There's no serious reaction.
That chapter of chemistry
totally
missed. I wonder what chapter of chemistry that is. Is that biology or chemistry?
It is chemistry.
Maybe Dr. Nikal can tell us.
And physics as well.
Yes.
And the minimal energy level.
Yeah.
The minimum energy level.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Dr. Nikal. Good morning.
And
how is Seme?
Same is fine.
Is it raining?
Well, the rains have gone down a bit, but it has left a lot of damage in the roads, bridges, and construction schools, particularly toilets. And what bothers me is that this rain was a rain which will be followed by famine. In my view, it swept the crops, and in some places, too much the crops gone yellow. So we were not expecting good harvest this time.
No good harvest at all.
No. So that's a worry to come. And we need to spend more money. In fact, I've been thinking, we still use pit latrines in many of our schools. And every time it rains, they get, they sink. So maybe we should start thinking of septic tanks, but they're expensive. Like in my constituency, I have 106 primary schools and 46 secondary schools. If you want to do 1.5 to 2 million each for a septic tank, it's a lot of money. Take you 2 years of CDF doing nothing else except septic tanks. Well, but we'll go with it as best as we can.
Right. Let's hear from Makaliman.
Hi, morning, Bob. It's good to be here. It's nice to see our friend. He has missed in action. I don't know where he disappeared to, but it's good to see him. You know, we were associated the last time. I think it must be about 3-4 months ago. But we're happy. We're happy that we passed the law to have him now officially be confirmed as a CAS. You know, the other time you used to claim the title. Now you can own it.
I was not
But
claiming
it has been a good week.
He says he's not been yet degazetted.
For me, very busy cracking the budget figures to see whether we can make sense out of them. And as usual, things are tight. So we just continue pushing hard. I was not able to go to Kuti this weekend, but I will say the last weekend, and I agree with what Tinkala is saying. Despite the heavy rains, I don't know what is happening. The crops are not doing very well. When you look at the farms, most areas will not be able to get the kind of harvest people are expecting with this Baba harvest, especially with this heavy rains, especially in our area. Maybe the area could be different, but our area, anytime I travel around, I get worried, and we might start getting back to the problem of food shortages again. Interesting to see how our friends in UDA started the business of the elections. I don't know, it looks like he will tell us, or the opposition will tell us. People are killing each other for these positions. What is that?
It is hotly contested.
Nairobi, everybody is fighting. All over the country, people are fighting for these positions. And I was getting worried. By my own county, I can see CS and a member of parliament almost in a coalition route, still fighting for the chair of this position. And I remember I only saw this during the times of Kanu. When you become the chair of Kanu, you are more powerful than the local DC, the district commissioner. I don't know whether we are heading to a situation like that.
But it's all about the optics. Since if you get that particular position, it means also you stand a good stead in the next election. So you won't be fighting as hard. You won't be spending as much as well.
I don't believe so. Because at the end of the day, there will be nominations, and in some place, you like it or not, where the party is a stronghold, then what will happen is that there will be competition. You might find even 10 people competing for that position. So by being the chair, the only thing you can do maybe, because you have delegates, you can mobilize. But I think the general voting, when it comes down to each individual to go and vote, it might not help you. But all said and done, we are keenly following what is happening. You know, they are opponents, so we can't just sleep. We must monitor them and see what is happening, so that we, at the end of the day, we have a fair competition when the day comes. But the budget was good anyway.
But we've not seen also you talk about UDA. What about a Wiper?
Wiper, we're also planning our own.
We've been in the planning phase for quite a long time.
Which will be coming very soon, and I can tell you for sure this time it's going to be hotly contested.
Soon as well.
Because you know parties normally take time. You know, it's not actually very cheap to prepare these things. It's very expensive. You have to have a serious budget.
Now he's actually admitting that these are the challenges of the party.
Yeah, you have to have a serious budget and so even the logistics, the way you conduct these things. But you know, normally what would happen is after every elections, but in between elections, parties will do that. So what you do is, it will be very chaotic to do them at the same time. That's why you see, like even ODM to delay theirs. After this gentleman, possibly ODM will come in because they have been planned for some time. Then it will all come in, and I can tell you, before the next elections, almost all the parties will have gone through this cycle because it's a requirement by the Political Parties Act that parties must conduct elections so that they get democratically elected leaders. So about just hold your horses. Don't worry. We are now.
All right. This is we're in June right now, right? The better half of the year.
Hold your horses, but you'll be coming there. Unless it's good to have us here this morning.
All right. Thank you. All right, let's just get down to the stories of the day, where President William Ruto has told members of Parliament to move across the country to familiarize themselves with their legislative and overnight roles in Parliament, adding that apart from their representation role, they also have a major role in the national arena. The statement comes about a week after his deputy Rigathi Gachagua scoffed at MPs who were moving from one constituency to the other. The latest twist is just one among many that have come in quick succession, as the relationship between the two slowly turns into full-blown bare knuckles. As KTN's political affairs reporter Emmanuel Toh now reports, the Bungoma Ruto from Bungoma, as he was reporting from Bungoma, that Ruto has yet again pleaded with leaders to shun politics of ethnicity as he jests out of the country.
It seems the relationship between the first and the second in command in Kenya has hit rock bottom. Sunday, President William Ruto trashing the sentiments by his deputy that members of parliament should stay in their constituencies, terming the thought process backward and narrow.
I want to encourage you, as members of parliament, to represent your constituencies effectively, but to also move around Kenya so that you understand and discharge your responsibilities better of oversight and of legislation.
Kila mtu achunge constituency yake. Stay in your constituency. Sasa wewe umechaguliwa pahali ingine, interest yako kesasi ni gani? Uko na interest. Sasa wewe unakuja kuangaisha mjumbe na wewe uko na kwako. Mimi hiyo maneno staki.
Speaking after attending a church service at Amutala Stadium, Kimilili, Bungoma County, Ruto said the legislative and oversight role of an MP cannot allow him or her to stay in one constituency.
Your job of representation is about your constituency. Ile kazi ingine mbili imebaki is not about your constituency. It is about the nation of Kenya. Na ile bunge is not a village parliament. Sio bunge la kijiji, ni bunge la kitaifa.
Kila mtu amechaguliwa kwake. Wewe ukiona unataka keses, goja next election, toka kwako, kuja uombe kura hapa, keses. What we don't want is political tourism.
The response to Gachagua comes a week after the DP gave some members who have been moving from one constituency to another a tongue lashing, telling them to stay where they were elected. Gachagua's comments seemed to target not only a section of Rift Valley MPs, but also a team led by Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro, who have been traversing the country with higher frequency in recent days. Nyoro was in Samburu County Sunday.
Kigawanya Kenya kwa msingi wa kabila, wa Kenya wote wanapoteza na hakuna mtu anagain kitu yoyote. There is nothing to gain in negative ethnicity.
Ruto has also called on leaders to shun regional and ethnic politics, adding that they were dividing the country.
Sisi tulio viongozi, tusitembee barabara telezi ya kugawanya wa Kenya kwa misingi ya kabila.
Hatutaki tulete ukabila kwa Kenya, na bali Mheshimiwa Rais ndio anasimamia taifa nzima, Afrika nzima kwa mambo ya amani.
Tuachane na mambo ya kuzungumuza hii kabila yangu, hao watu yangu. Kila mtu ni mtu wetu. Ndio hata wa Makonde tumewapa uraia wa Kenya.
Let us have one united Kenya. Kenya iwe moja. Vile Mheshimiwa Rais amechampion kwamba tuwe mambo ya ukabila tuachane nayo, mambo ya regionalism tuachane nayo.
The sentiments also come in the wake of Gachagua's renewed campaign to unite the Mount Kenya region as the mountain charts its own political path.
Sisi tunasoma sana kama watu wa mlima. Vile Mulembe Nation mumekuja pamoja. Sisi bado kidogo pale ni kama umoja wetu inatutatiza kidogo. Lakini ni lazima tutafute umoja na usawa katika nchi yetu sisi wote.
President Ruto has Sunday evening jetted out of the country for South Korea, days after a state visit to the United States of America. Emmanuel Tau, KT News, Kimilili, Bungoma County.
Separately, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says some people are fearful of a united Mount Kenya region. Speaking during a church service in Timau, Meru County, and appearing to respond to his boss, President William Ruto's statement on politics of ethnicity, Rigathi says nothing will stop the region from speaking the same political language, since Mount Kenya, just like other regions, have unique issues that can only be conversed locally. Kapseret MP Oscar Sudi, too, while in Kakamega for a church service and a fundraiser, has called on Kenyans to shun politicians who propagate ethnic politics. Alana Chala has more.
President Rigathi Gachagua appears to have pitched tent in his Mount Kenya backyard. And Sunday, Our Lady of Visitation Catholic Church in Timau, Meru County, played host to him and a host of elected leaders. Rigathi reiterating his resolve to ensure the region remains united and appeared to respond to his boss, President William Ruto, who during the Madaraka Day celebrations in Bungoma County Saturday vowed not to allow the country slide back to ethnic politics, but ensure equity and equality for all regions. Rigathi, however, says some people grow goosebumps whenever the region speaks in the same voice and that nothing will stop that.
I have seen an argument yesterday, somebody arguing that for call of unity of our region, we can be isolated. Why would anybody isolate us for being united? Why? How can unity be a bad thing? Is unity a bad thing? Unity is a good thing. I don't think anybody can say that because we are united, we should be isolated. I think that is very retrogressive talk. Unity is good for this country. And this country is made up of regions. Regions are made up of counties.
Rigathi, in his heightened political activities in the mountain, appears to have rubbed a section of elected leaders the wrong way, and there was a threat of the emergence of two camps within the ruling party UDA, one supporting the second in command, while the other going for his jugular. Rigathi has had no soft words for retired President Uhuru Kenyatta, but has lately toned down on him, saying they were pitted against each other, but there have been reports he might have reached out to him just in case what befell President William Ruto, then as Deputy President, reoccurs.
Is there anything wrong with us forgiving one another? That is what we as practicing Christians, that we forgive one another. I don't know why anybody would have a problem if I forgive my brother, I forgive my sister. Let's all forgive each other. And I want to take this opportunity in Meru. Members of Parliament, if Governor Kawira Mwangaza wronged you, please find it in your heart to forgive her.
The once rosy relationship appears to be fading as the differences between them manifest through their loyalists. 2 weeks ago, a war of words erupted between the DP and Kapseret Member of Parliament Oscar Sudi, the former accusing the latter of belonging to a cabal of leaders around the president who are undermining him. Sudi, while in a church service and later a fundraising in Kakamega, called on Kenyans to shun leaders who propagate ethnicity.
Especially, especially watu wa Mount Kenya. Watu wa Mount Kenya ama Wakikuyu wanataka waitwe constituency yao ni Kenya. Sio hapa Mount Kenya, sijui sisi watu wa Mount Kenya, sijui sisi watu wa Western, hapana. Ukiona hata sekta yenu haina Mkikuyu, ujue kuna shida. Kwa sababu hao Wakikuyu ni watu wa maajabu. Na hiyo ndio mfano mzuri ndio tuweke katika taifa la Kenya. Ukienda Lodwar utawapata. Ukienda Mombasa utawapata. Ukija Eldoret utawapata, ukija hapa Kakamega utawapata. Si kweli jamani? Ndio tunataka tushikane. Hii maneno ya kusema sisi na watu wa Kenya, sisi watu na mlima, hiyo maneno tuache.
Alan Ochanda, KTN News.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Amani National Congress ANC party founder Musalia Mudavadi has confirmed that talks are underway for the merger of the ANC with the ruling United Democratic Alliance UDA party. Mudavadi sought to quell concerns from ANC leaders opposed to the merger, noting that a section of them also doubted his move to team up with President William Ruto as a founding member of Kenya Kwanza in 2022, and if he will be in government. He also noted that this is an avenue that is open to all political parties in the country, and his party is only doing its part to prepare for the future elections.
Sheria ya Vyama Political Parties Act inakubali political merger, vyama kuungana. Ni kwa nini wanasheria waliweka hiyo katika sheria Political Parties Act? Waliweka hiyo kwa sababu vyama vinaweza kukutana kwa mrengo wa coalition, ama vinaweza baadaye kuwa na merger. Azimio ni nini? Si coalition ya vyama. Kenya Kwanza ni muungano wa vyama, na katika hivyo vyama tunaweza kuwa na mazungumzo ya kuwa na merger. Na mimi sioni kwamba kuna makosa kuwa na merger. Ni kwa sababu katika uanzilishi wa Kenya Kwanza, ukikumbuka, ANC kulikuwa na UDA, ANC ikawa pale, tukatengeneza ile earthquake, tukashikana, tukawa na Ford Kenya. Tulishinda ama tukushinda? Si tulishinda. Kwa hivyo unity is strength, and unity can take different forms. Inaweza kuwa through coalition ama inaweza kuwa through merger.
All right, away from the politics to the politics of Muguka, where the debate about the ban of Muguka by 3 counties in the coast has raised eyebrows. Political and religious leaders from the coast claim that the effects of the use of Muguka have contributed heavily to the youth being admitted to rehabilitation centers. The governors of Mombasa banned the entry, distribution and sale of Muguka. However, leaders from Embu, which is a main producer, opposed the ban, saying it was political. Right now, there are 5 court cases on the ban by the governors of Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta. Clement Masombo explains the losses farmers have incurred and the difference, if any, between Muguka and Mira.
These were Muguka farmers and traders in Embu town demonstrating and blocking the Meru-Nairobi highway following the ban on Muguka. As the debate on the ban on Muguka by 3 counties of coast, Mombasa, Kilifi and Taita Taveta continues, farmers in Mbeere, which is one of the areas that grows Muguka, continue to incur losses. Benjamin Njeru, a farmer in Gikure village, is the chair of Kodorema Muguka Sacco. He has been farming Muguka for more than a decade now, and he has 4 acres of the crop.
Mimi ni mkulima wa Muguka na nimelima hii Muguka sasa kwa zaidi ya miaka 10.
When the news about Muguka ban in Mombasa got him, he was a worried man. From his 4 acres, he harvests an average of 300 kgs daily, which he supplies to various markets, Coast Region being one of his target market.
Na nikienda kupiga hesabu hiyo zaidi ya kilo 200, saa hii bei iko chini kidogo sababu ni 300.
The governor of Mombasa and his counterparts from Kilifi and Taita Taveta alleged that Muguka was contributing hugely to the increase in the number of youth admitted to rehabilitation centers in the coast. The governors alluded their argument to the element composition in Muguka.
Pigeni hesabu bilioni 22. Mimi nawapa hesabu za kichali ya kwa ikiwa 30% inatumika katika Mombasa, wana Mombasa wanatumia bilioni 7 kila mwaka kwa sababu ya Muguka.
The ban also left scientists and medical experts divided in opinion and facts about the differences that exist between Muguka and Miraa. While some argue that the two crops are different, some believe that they are one and the same thing, insisting that Muguka is just a variety from the Miraa crop.
This is the time now we are trying to tell the country that there exists a scientific and a legal difference between Muguka and Miraa. Miraa is the stem, is the coat of the stem that you chew, which has more of cathinone, a short-acting product, a product that will never give you anything toxic in your body. And Muguka is the leaf that you are chewing. It's not based on any legal instrument of our country, and it will give you the many things that you can hear them talking about in Mombasa.
The point is, Miraa contains some ingredients, active ingredients, but the level of the gradient does not go beyond the stimulants level. It is on its own cannot cause mental disorder. It cannot.
Under the Crops Act of 2013, Miraa is listed as one of the scheduled crops in Kenya.
Science, which does not lie, tells us that the leaves of Muguka contains more of caffeine than cathinol.
The government was not deceived, was not misguided to accept Muguka, to accept Miraa as a commercial crop. It was not by deception.
Following the ban, President William Ruto held a meeting with leaders from Embu County to deliberate on the way forward. In a statement from the State House, the President committed to allocate 500 million shillings in the 2024-2025 financial year for value addition of Muguka. Political leaders from Embu say they read malice in the ban.
It is a trade war. There is serious banned times as far as drug barons' business is concerned. The drug barons who have sponsored many politicians in coast region, the business is not doing well.
Na tunataka kuambia wale wako na fikra zingine. Muguka is our cash crop and nobody can tune us. Wanamuka njora bisa lisorie Muguka kaniwa. Muguka is our cash crop and nobody can tune us.
A statement issued last week by the governor shows that Muguka generates revenue of about 22 billion shillings annually for the county government of Embu and 1 million shillings daily for the county government of Mombasa through levy charges. The governor has, however, vowed to keep fighting for what she terms as the right of Muguka farmers and traders. For the 2 weeks of stalemate about Muguka, farmers like Benjamin make losses daily. He used to make about 60,000 shillings from the sale of Muguka.
Sasa kwa hiyo wiki mbili ukipiga hesabu hata utaona ile hasara nimepata ni mingi, ni kubwa. Saa nyingine hata watoto saa hii tuko nao hapa nyumbani sababu hatuna pesa.
Kama Muguka itaendelea hivyo ifungwe, wale wengi watapotelea kwa wizi, hao wengine madawa ya kulevya kama pangi, halafu utakuta generation nyingine hatutakuwa na watu wa kutegemewa. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa wenda wazimu tu.
Miraa tusipea mbuzi, tunakulanga sisi wenyewe. Na sisi tunakulanga ituzuru, tunakula itutumikie vizuri na tukae maisha mazuri.
While both crops are varieties of cut, there is, however, an outstanding difference between Muguka and Miraa from harvesting to chewing, which is the main way of consumption. For Miraa, it takes between 7 to 8 years for the plant to reach maximum height, and it's mainly grown in Meru County. When it comes to harvesting, Miraa farmers pluck the stem, which is consumed, while for Muguka, farmers pluck the leaves, which are consumed. Muguka is a fast-growing plant and mainly grown in Embu and parts of Tharaka Nithi. Muguka's potency chemicals are higher compared to that found in Miraa's stem, making it a higher stimulant than Miraa.
As controversy and confusions about Muguka continues in the country, Dennis Mugambi, just like thousands of other farmers in this area, continue to count losses for not selling their farm produce.
The appeal is for government's intervention and a lasting solution to the stalemate. Clement Masombo, KTN News, Kanyambora Village, Embu County.
All right, let's head to the coast where Harrison Kombe, whose election as the Magarini Member of Parliament was nullified by the Supreme Court on Friday, now claims he is not scared of a by-election. Kombe says he is ready to face his opponents again and he is confident he will win with a landslide. Addressing journalists in Malindi, Kombe said he was not scared of the by-election as it was not the first time he had been subjected to such a situation and expressed optimism that he will win by a landslide on Friday. Supreme Court Judges Smokin Wenchala, Joaquin Dongo and Mohammed Ibrahim found that Kombe, who ran on an ODM ticket, engaged in ballot stuffing and altering election results.
Mahali popote wamenitaja kwa ubaya hata katika uamuzi wao, hakuna mahali popote waliponitaja mimi kwa ubaya. Si husiki na chochote. Kama wanadai kuna ulaghai, basi ulaghai huo haukufanywa na mimi, bali umefanywa labda na wahusika wengine. Nilikuwa nashindana na babu yangu marehemu Julius Daraka Mbusi, ambapo yeye alinipeleka mahakamani asinipeleke tena. Madai yake yalikuwa ya kweli, maana yeye alama yake ilikuwa ni nyungu, na kwa bahati mbaya ile jina lake Julius Daraka Mbuzi, tume ya uchaguzi ikamwekea alama ya mbuzi. Hivyo kwa vyovyote tulienda nikijua kwamba hapa hakuna vile nitaweza kuepuka. Tulipelekana mpaka mwisho, ikawa ni kura irudiwe. Ikarudiwa tarehe 14 Mei 2007, na hapo nikaweza kuwashinda wapinzani wangu mara 2 ya zile kura nilizozipata mimi. Zao zikijumulishwa walikuwa hawafiki hata nusu ya zile nilizopata. Wao wote walioshiriki. Na hata kwa hii matarajio yangu ni kwamba wacha wajumuishwe wote, hawatafika hata theluthi ya zile kura ambazo nitazipata.
All right, this is what we have in the editorial cartoons today. All right, this is Ozone, and of course it's all about Kenya politics. And you can see him being piety and pious there, seeking forgiveness, as he's always been saying, or we've heard from also that clip that we shall always be forgiving one another. And he's been seeking forgiveness from Antoinette, as it is depicted here. I'll leave it for you to decipher this as well. I wonder who is this lady with these stocky legs on the side as well, right? From Mount Kenya, where he's seeking the forgiveness. I'll leave it for you to decipher. Could you identify? Right? Dr. From the legs. Difficult from the legs. You don't know who has those stocky legs, the lady there. Well, it could be, I don't know. Let me just don't mention as well. I'll leave it for you to decipher this. Son and father.
No, yeah. Mother and son.
Mother and son. Mother and son. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Right? Seeking forgiveness from the first family, as we had. This is what has been captured by Ozone inside the Standard today. And this is all about the Mount Kenya politics right now, as we had the different opinions from the president and his deputy, a rift that is widening, a big chasm that is developing as well, and he's stoutly denying also he's not rowing back as far as his sentiments are concerned regarding Mount Kenya. And we can see also from the latest development in the dailies as well. If you grab a copy of the Standard today, Gachagua in yet another tiff over military chopper, where it seems he was denied also these facilities or other services as well, because he had not apparently applied for one. That is what the publication is talking about. We shall be looking at that on the other side of a break. And Stano and the road victim, that is road accident victims there, and the compensation, it's a maze, as you can see it right now. I'll leave it for you to decipher this as well. It's been happening in South Africa. The elections right now, counting is ongoing. It seems the ANC is sewn up to be in a coalition government, looking at the opposition, and you can see it here as depicted on the chessboard there. Who's the king? Who's the checkmate? Right after 30 years, it seems they're losing the majority And also the conviction of Donald Trump, convicted felon. As you can see, it relaxed. We vote in criminals every election cycle. This is what has been captured also in the publications today. And this is Gams also in the Standard. God damn it, useless jury. I'm an innocent man. Law is an ass. That was disgraceful. You cannot stop me. And that is what now you can say is an acronym for guilty. Make America great again. That is what the small puppy says there. I'll leave it for you to decide for this. We take a short break. When we circle back, of course, we buckle down with the panelists in slicing and dicing this topics that we have this morning, looking at the current state of play of UDA and the developing chasm that is there. Also, what will happen to Magarini? IBC is not in place. We don't have any commissioners. And also, we have other constituencies and also wards that are affected because we don't have any by-elections and there is no IBC in place right now. We take a short break. We circle back with more. Don't go away.